Happy Monday, everybody. This is week number 8 and the last and final week of actual work. So I've got 5 days and 5 stories, and we are done, boys and girls. So let's get started. Here's the pledge. Ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, here we go. The Loch Ness Monster. Helen Lester, 4.2. So over here we have a glossary of Scottish terms. A loch is a lake. The wee laddie is a little boy. Skirps are drips. A puggy knit is a peanut. Hummy dodies is mittens. A groaty is dirty. Tatties is potatoes. A Hieland coo is a Highland cow. And a peely wally is sick. Don't you love this language? I love it. In faraway Scotland, there was a famous lake called Loch Ness, and legend had it that deep in this lake lived a monster. No one had ever seen it. But guess what? The legend was false. In truth, way down at the bottom of Loch Ness lived not one, but 3 monsters. There was Nessie, her husband Fergus, and their wee laddie Angus. From the time he was a baby, Angus's parents had taught him the 5 basic monster rules. Number 5, never behave in a monstrous manner. Number 4, never eat with your thumbs. Number 3, always say excuse me when you cough, sneeze, or burp. Number 2, always pick up after yourself. Number 1, never, ever go up to the surface of the loch. So Angus was well behaved, ate with a spoon, and said excuse me when he coughed, sneezed, or burped. But as he grew bigger, so did his messes. Mother Nessie skidded across the floor on Angus's slimy lockweed collection and crashed into Father Fergus. Father Fergus tripped over Angus's fishy dolls and landed in the porridge. Angus loved the action. His parents did not. Have you noticed that our laddie leaves skirps all over his dishes? They asked. And puggy knit shells on the floor. And that his hummy dodies are hopelessly mixed up. And that we're surrounded by grotty laundry. What has happened to their tidy home, Angus had happened? It was time to enforce basic monster rule number 2. Always pick up after yourself. So Angus's parents told him that while they loved him very much, until he cleaned up after himself, he would have to stay in his room so that his stuff would stop spreading. Meanwhile, they would deliver his daily meal of milk and tatties in a can, so Angus went off to his room. In the days that followed, he didn't feel lonesome, for he had so much interesting stuff. Every day he would play with his toys, tossing each one on the floor when he had finished. Before long, the floor was full. So Angus tossed his used items onto the bed. And a monstrously messy mountain began to grow. Books and toys, rock collections, slimy lockweed, fishy dolls, tatty cans, hummy doddies too. Grotty laundry, puggy knits, spoon and skirpy cup, messy mountain moving higher and up and up and up. At night, as was his habit, Angus would check to be sure there were no monsters under the bed. Then he would strap on his mountain gear and make the long climb to his lumpy sleeping perch. Each night this climb took a little longer because each day he added books and toys, rock collection, slimy lockweed, fishy dolls, tatty cans, hummy doddies too, grotty laundry, puggy knits, spoon and skirpy cup, messy mountain moving higher, up and up and up. Not only was the climb a long way up, On the nights when Angus fell out of bed, it was a long way down. Now Angus was beginning to miss his parents. He was uncomfortable on his lumpy bed and dreadfully hot as he neared the sun on the surface of the loch. Surface of the loch. Angus had forgotten basic monster rule number 1, never, ever, ever go up to the surface of the loch. But here he was, rising. Meanwhile, 3 friends gathered on the shores of Loch Ness. A duck, a goat, and a Hieland coo looked out over the water as they had every morning for years, waiting patiently for the Loch Ness monster to appear. And at last, on this particular morning, they saw a wee ripple way out on the loch. Could it possibly be? They focused their camera, binoculars, and telescope, and what they saw was Sloppy Angus, just awakening and rising on his bed, or once had been his bed. "What a mess!" exclaimed the 3 observers. The trio sadly shook their heads. "'Tis nae the Loch Ness monster. 'Tis the Loch Mess monster." And what did Angus see on the shore? What he saw made him feel absolutely peely-wally. Monstrous land monsters. The little one had enormous feet that could probably stomp you flat in a second. The middle one had a hairy chin, fierce spears on its noggin, and big googly eyes. And the big one must have been 500 feet tall, with a long green snout, and it made the most horrible sound. Moo! Time to move! Suddenly, Sloppy Angus wanted to clean up. He gathered up as much stuff as his arms could hold and climbed down, down, down to the bottom of his mountain. Let's see. Slimy lockweed on the shelf, puggy knit shells in the laundry basket, books and toys on the garbage, grotty laundry in the fish tank. No, wait, that wasn't right. Slimy lockweed in the fish tank, grotty laundry in the basket, puggy knit shells in the garbage, books and toys on the shelf. Now Angus remembered. And up he went for another load, up and down, load after load, until at last all of his stuff had found a place. Books and toys, rock collection, slimy lockweed, ew. Fishy dolls, tatty cans, hummy dotties too. Grotty laundry, puggy knits, spoon and skirpy cup. Messy mountain is no more. Angus cleaned it up. Angus was thrilled to see his parents, and as he passed them, he called cheerfully, "I'm off to wash my dishes and recycle my tatties in a cans." His mother and father were concerned. "Are ye peely-wally, laddie?" But Angus was not peely-wally. He was just glad to be plain Angus instead of Sloppy Angus. That night he had a wonderful dinner with his parents and land monster-free dreams of his smooth, cool bed. The epilogue. But Angus didn't want his parents to think he was perfect, so once in a while he acted a wee bit monstrous and left a very wee mess. All right, me laddies and lassies, that is my story, The Loch Mess Monster, by Helen Lester, 4.2. Go take yourselves an AR test off with you now. Have a wonderful Monday, and I'll see you in the morning. Bye.